This week on the line, we were talking to my dear friend, fellow New Jerseyan, Billy Harris.
A genuine friend and someone that we can all thank for. Man, the man has raised over $500 million for some of the most important charities out there.
You may not know him from the kitchens, but you do know him as the host with the most, raising millions of dollars for food charities. He is always on stage with all of the chefs. He knows the inside scoop of how to get us all together and how to raise money for the things that we feel strongly about, feeding people.
He's the best dressed man in food, and he's got the pompadour that will, man, I'm so jealous of this guy's hair.
So tune in for a laugh and some inspirations to the man, the myth, the legend, Billy Harris on the line.
What are you guys' name?
Billy's the first non-chef.
Have we not been recording this? But am I really a non-chef?
You're not chef. You're not a chef. Are you chef?
We can call you a chef.
We said you're chef by honorary
I'm
PhD.
chef adjacent.
Yeah, you're chef.
We need your official title. What's your official
It's a
title?
lot of titles.
I wanted
Okay.
that. So Billy Harris is here. Billy Harris is this guy over here. Between us, I'm
the
Amanda
guy.
Holzman. I'm Daniel Holzman.
What are you? You're Daniel Freitag.
Yeah, I'm
and that's
Mrs.
Amanda
And I'm
Holzman
Daniel
over there.
Freitag.
I'm Amanda.
I like how he
Amanda.
cooled it down. He's getting the Letterman
And this
level.
is on the line.
On the line. I've been
the
on a
line.
lot of
Yeah,
lines,
we've been
but
on the line.
noshing on the other side.
That's right.
Not cooking anything.
Here on the line, we're extremely excited to hear the perspective of Billy Harris on the state of from Billy Harris on the state
sure.
of the industry.
Oh, boy.
How it's doing, where it's been, and where it's going.
Okay.
Billy Harris has. I'm going to say your whole name every time. Billy Harris.
You can. And actually, it would be William Billy Brian Boom Boom Boborowski Harris. I'm actually a Boborowski. Somehow Boborowski turned into Harris. And I've decided in 2024, shouldn't I go back to Billy Boborowski?
Yes, of course.
It's like the
That's
king.
very welcome back, Kata.
100%. Continue.
William Ryan Boom Boom Boborowski Harris.
William Billy Brian Boom Boom.
Boborowski Harris is a unique perspective
I
for the past 25 years.
More, 30.
30 years, unparalleled access to all of the best restaurants and chefs in America.
They're my friends.
Yes.
Most people in the industry know Billy for his role as the MC of every single food charity event that's happened for the last 25 years. Something
I
like
concur.
that.
I agree.
Right? Like most people know you from that. Billy has raised, I wrote down, I'm not sure, is it hundreds of millions of dollars?
It's about $500 million in the past 30 years.
$500 million
Yeah.
was raised by this man in the room.
William Billy
Boom
Boom Boom Boborowski
You left out
Ryan
Brian.
Harris has raised nearly $500 million for people in need around the globe.
Around the globe.
His work with charity has connected him with every single chef there is, full stop. And they all love him because he is overflowing with positive energy, and it makes you want to know him.
Spilkes of the Gezoints. It's a little Yiddish, right? For the non-mishpucha out there. It is Passover, Holzman.
The Spilkes for the
Happy Pesach.
We for good Pesach. I like the. We first met in 2010 when he came in to profile me at a restaurant, the restaurant that I was working at on the Lower East Side. He was wearing at the time his signature sequined smoking jacket.
I was going to say, this outfit?
Same tailor as Elvis
I
Presley.
actually should have come in sequence right now. I really should have.
Same tailor as Elvis Presley. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's oh my God! In Memphis, Tennessee, where I got all those sequins.
As one does.
As one does. So before the end of this is over,
We're going to remember his
I'm
name.
going to remember
that
name.
incredible pompadour, and you were brimming with energy.
Brimming.
I don't brimming.
Yeah.
My cup runneth over. I don't think I'd ever experienced anything like it. You came in there, and it just kind of like the whole room. I was a little jealous, actually. It kind of made me kind of shrink down.
I think you and I have known each other more than 50.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
When a star walks in the room, you know it.
Boom.
And you're a star. But it was during the COVID that William Billy Boom Boom Boborowski Harris.
Don't forget
that
Brian.
your magic really came to light
I
because
did.
you moved the personality online, and working through Zoom, you helped countless chefs and restaurants stay in business through virtual events. It was a lifesaver for many and welcome distraction for many. It raised money and kept a lot of the culinary industry afloat. It was a big deal.
We did 102 102 virtual galas from April of 2020 with Antonia Lafaso at Scopa through December of 2021. But we'll come back to that.
102.
102. And then it just started steamrolling once people started hearing about that we were the company to hire to produce a virtual experience where I'm still like, I don't want to travel anywhere. I love them more than anything. Anyway, are we going to
I saw him do a charity event
Yeah.
in a pair of swim. He had the smoker jacket up
I
top.
did,
He had
and
swim
I'd
trunks
bathing
down
suit,
below,
yeah.
and he was standing knee deep in a pool.
I did.
That's not a joke.
That was for Heal the Bay,
Did you
actually.
start out as a comedian? Were you a comedian?
Yeah. But
Because you're still funny.
Are you
No.
still reading a bio?
Yeah,
or are we
yeah,
getting,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
all right.
So
like-
very spectacular, and
Yeah.
she's still at it. Nothing stops.
Nothing stops me.
William, Billy,
Brian.
Boom Boom, Brian,
Boborowski. Harris.
Boborowski. He's a loyal husband, father, dedicated friend, businessman.
Yep,
And
for sure.
thank you for being here.
Style icon.
Yeah, style icon. If you just wear black clothes all the time, you're a style icon.
Yeah.
Billy
That's it.
Harris, everybody.
Thank you.
Woo! I'm
know,
so happy you're here. You have no
It's
idea.
a pleasure to be here. It's good to
Thank
see
you
you in
for
the West
saying yes.
Coast.
Yes,
of course.
the
I've always
West
say
is
yes
best.
to you. The West is best. But it's a side note, the black thing, when she was on Hanging with Harris, just like you, when we started filming food videos all the time, and you'd film with chefs all day and do ticks. And I used to actually wear like the white shirt and, and a gray suit. And then you start getting food all over it when you're
Right.
filming. So I slowly started to,
Black.
over the it just was, you get a little sauce, you couldn't see it, keep filming, rolling. Anyway, sidebar.
So that's
Good to
why
see
you wear
you,
black,
Holzman.
because of the sauce.
I am a Johnny Cash fan as well. But when we started doing The Man in Black, are you with me? You're too young for
No,
that?
I
Hello?
met that. I heard.
You met that guy?
I listened to him on the radio once.
Wait, for the people who don't know who you are, which is
I'm not a
probably
chef,
very
but-
few.
Oh, okay.
I
Let
just
me
don't like
read
the-
this again.
Oh
Hold
my!
on.
Yeah, start again.
What would you say as a self-proclaimed title? How
Yeah.
would you describe it?
And it has changed. Like all of us,
It
our
has changed.
lives have morphed. And, when people ask me now, literally they ask me now, and I was like, well, we own an agency. We own a production company. You know,
Okay.
I host events. I'm a fundraiser, professional fundraiser. I'm a corporate MC. I'm a culinary MC. Jack of all trades, master
of
of
all
none,
trades.
all of that. But everything is, almost by accident, my friend Joe Allegro, who I actually, because I was honored last night for my 20 years with No Kid Hungry.
Yay.
Joe Allegro hired me at the Food Network like 30 years ago, okay? And the first event that I hosted, because I was just a shtick guy, funny guy, wise-ass guy, kid actor, did stand-up for a little bit, worked on cruise ships, went to college for theater. When I got out of college, I went to school in San Francisco. I got hired by a local, event planning agency to host a sales meeting. So I slowly started hosting things. Funny guy, do some shtick.
that's
Hey,
how it
everyone.
happened.
That's 100% how it happened. And my first corporate gig in 88 or 89, I worked at the Empress's Ballroom in Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas. And it was like a sales meeting for some software startup called Microsoft.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them. And it was one
They
of those.
paid you in stock options, which you
They gave me
immediately-
$1,000 when I was 20 years old, and it might as well have been $100 million.
Yes.
Didn't know what that was.
Right.
They flew me to Las Vegas. I was in the Empress's Ballroom. It was like, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up my good friend Bill Gates, And then if I start doing
And that was
shtick
the
and
last time you flew coach.
that was the last time I flew coach or worked at the Empress's Ballroom for sure. But yeah, it is a little strange path, but that's kind of the short story of it. Didn't come from a culinary household. I'm a TV dinner kid from the 70s. No one really...
From
New Jersey.
Dirty Jersey.
in
Where in
the
Jersey?
house.
Born at Jefferson Hospital in Philadelphia. Grew up in Cherry Hill. Went to high school in West Orange.
My
till
neighbor.
about Verona, right?
Cedar Grove.
Cedar Grove. And then ended up in Kansas City. Things that you might not know. Ended up in Kansas City for 2 years.
What were you doing there?
Are you from KC, the technical guy? Whatever.
Yes.
My dad was a Macy's guy, a schmata guy. If anyone in
Really?
the podcast, you know what schmata is. Ended up in Kansas City for 2 years, and then actually ended up in, family moved again. He had got a bigger job. We ended up in San Francisco. Now, culinary change for me in San Francisco, because do you guys know Tony Abuganim, Cocktail Tony, Vegas?
No.
No.
Opened up the Bellagio for Wynn.
Really?
Opened up Poe on Cornelia Street 30
Oh,
years ago,
yeah, of
back in the
course.
day. And so Tony really kind of got me into food a little bit. And I used to go to Stars in San Francisco as a 20-year-old, Jeremiah Tower
Jeremiah
spot,
Tower.
obviously. Had never seen anything like that kind of experience. Obviously, Zuni in San Francisco at the time, Chez Panisse at the time. And through Tony Abou-Ganim, who's a dear, dear friend, I got my first taste of an elevated restaurant and food and hospitality. And
what year is this?
San Francisco, I graduated college in 99, so 91, 92.
All right.
Early
A little
90s.
bit in San Francisco, and then moved to New York in 92, okay?
Were you wearing you had a ponytail? And...
No, I have had this do since 69.
Since he was born.
Since
What are you talking about?
100% had the do.
I saw a baby picture of you wearing all black.
Yeah. I'm wearing a Brioni, and I have a Glenfiddich on the side. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Fiji is our new sponsor of the program. It is
Title card
right in there.
sponsor.
Thank you for keeping us hydrated.
So I moved to New York. Joe Allegro hired me at the Food Network through some mutual friends. I think my first event was, they're like, this guy's going to come out and go bam.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what does that even mean? So I did stuff with Emerald, and then I worked with Bobby and Rachel and all the very, you're
Yes.
talking 93, 94, 95.
The beginning of the Food
like
Network.
95, 96 is still
So you did
28,
Bam,
29
you did
years
Flavor
ago.
Town, you did...
This was even pre-Flavor
That was
Town, way
pre-Flavor Town.
way pre-Flavor Town. Even before Guy was Guy, starting to become Guy, him and I did the Kentucky Derby together, which was always a great time. Not to the mega stardom that he is now, and he's one of the best guys.
Now he's
everybody.
a Preakness guy.
Is he a Preakness guy? I know they'll all be in Louisville next weekend for sure.
But that was the beginning of the Food Network. That was early on, New York days.
Yeah, that was the real change.
Yes.
I was a kid actor. I come from a whole
Well,
line.
when you say you were a kid actor, were you in movies or...
Theater, play, this. I came from a whole line. If you go back, my daughter Georgie I'm related to Georgie Jessel, who was a super famous vaudevillian. My grandfather Billy, my dad's dad, used to carry Georgie's bags in the 1930s.
So it's in your ancestry.
But it's more than that. So on my dad's side of the family, and my grandparents, my dad's dad and my dad's mother, Grandma Jean and Grandpa Billy. My grandpa Billy, he carried Georgie Jessel's bags. My Aunt Katie danced at the Texaco Star Theater with Milton Berle.
Wow.
She was a dancer. My grandmother, her brother was a big band guitarist for the Carmen Caballero Orchestra in the 40s. And she had a couple brothers who were Catskill guys in the 40s, in the 50s. So there's shtick in the family.
Wow.
Always been that way.
Shtick runs deep.
I'm like, it's just not something that can be learned. I just feel like
And it's not something you can't not do. You have to do this.
Yeah,
this is your calling.
Always just kind of been a sarcastic asshole type guy, but in a big loving way, like with a big heart. Like I'll say something and I never mean it, but kind of mean it, but don't really mean it. But so that was always the thing, and always loved movies and always loved theater. And, New Jersey, we was going to New York and see plays. And, whenever they interview the biggest, there's so many people from New Jersey, the ones that didn't grow up in Manhattan, the Danny DeVitos, the Jack Nicholsons, the Meryl Streeps, the Bruce Willises, they're all from New Jersey, and they all have that common backline that as kids, their parents took them to see the theater in New York.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people are like, what's this?
I want to get across this river.
Yes.
Like quickly, as quick as I can, this little tiny river. But yeah, obviously not a culinary background. So it is, I talked about it a little bit last night. So it's still even strange for me that I have such personal relationships with the best of the best and friends across the world in the culinary space. But it really changed through Tony Abou-Ganim, and then getting connected to the Food Network and Joe Allegro, and started hosting some live events, and slowly started working with some chefs, and then more chefs, and then a lot more chefs. And then I was the Food Network hosted live event guy. And then as we segue this conversation into fundraising, which we're not there yet, but we will.
We will.
Then that cross-pollinated with the rise of, it's like Malcolm Gladwell's book. If I was 10 years younger or 10 years older, I wouldn't be in the right space. But being 55, it's the right place at the right time.
Yes.
And having the right skills and ability, that it was a combination of, I know all these people in Foodland, and then with the rise of the celebrity chef, really cross-pollinated with fundraising.
Of
You're
course.
like one of these great luck is at the intersection of opportunity and preparedness.
100, well, as they like to say
As
about
one
luck,
might
when
say.
preparation meets
Can
opportunity.
I ask
for
you?
sure.
Sorry, just
you
to
can
back
ask me
up.
anything.
I know because the
because
problem
I go
with
on tangents.
this is your world is that you take over and you just handle it.
Yeah, would you
And
like
we're-
me
But
to
you're
interview?
saying everything I want to hear. You can interview us.
Yeah, I'll interview
I
both of you.
I've got a question about
Yeah.
my big question
The
that I
hair?
want you to answer. You don't have to answer it right away, but at some point,
All right.
Just plant the seed.
is you got this perspective on the industry. You've
Yeah.
seen it come.
Yeah.
You've seen where it's going.
Yeah.
And, it's constantly evolving. And so just like as a broad picture, are you feeling optimistic and positive about the state of the industry where it's do you feel like from a creative perspective, who were we talking to, Jonathan Waxman talking about where this like
He
the
feels
immigrant culture bringing so much creativity into the
Yeah.
restaurant scene, there's a lot of hope there, like so at some point while you're talking about everything
Yeah.
else,
Plant
Yeah,
the
maybe
yeah,
you could
yeah.
just attack
Well,
it.
because I
Yeah.
also think like we first met. I don't even know.
It's
I don't know
it's
if
a
it was,
long, yeah.
I don't know if it was Food Network stuff or if it was
Fundraising
at Chef's
stuff
Garden.
or Chef's Garden
I think
with,
that was the
with
first-
Ruth Reichel. We were on the
Yes.
back of some wagon with
Yes.
Farmer Lee
Farmer
Jones.
Lee Jones.
Yeah,
I like
in
that
Ohio.
guy with the
Yeah, with the suspense.
we
I have
were-
the black leather jacket.
We were
yeah.
checking into a hotel that
Yeah.
was very
Oh my God, this is-
very
yeah.
rustic-y kind of looking and
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the first time we spent quality time together, we were in a hotel.
well,
That's
not
great.
not that quality,
Well,
not
what-
high quality.
let's- Yeah.
not biblically.
Yeah, not biblically.
But we started chatting, and
Yeah.
you just became that guy to me that was like George Clooney and up in the air. You've got a million miles, and you're everywhere.
I have 3.2 million on Delta now.
You
But
don't
anyway.
keep your mouth, you use them, don't you?
I use them all the time to go to Italy.
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 You know,
But that was back in a
Yeah.
time where
it was already changing.
it was starting to change, but chefs were celebrities through their restaurants, right?
Yeah.
And that they were known entities through their restaurants. The
Yep.
top chefs in the world would do these events, or we would go to Farmer Lee Jones' farm and raise money
What
for
was
him.
that for? Some kind of.
He would do
Was
this
it the Chef's Garden fundraiser thing?
Chef's
Yeah.
Garden fundraiser. I know
Yep.
Aaron Sanchez was there that
Yeah.
year. Ruth Reichel was there. There was many people there, and it was just the start of the beginning
Yeah.
of that was bubbling up, where chefs would be asked to
Yeah.
do these charitable events
Yep.
because chefs were people that would draw guests to the fundraisers,
Yep.
would be able to get money from people who wanted to give back because we would donate our time.
Yeah.
We would auction off dinners
Yep.
in people's homes. And now, I don't know if you can even estimate how many times you've auctioned off a chef dinner in a private home.
So I auctioned off last night in Los Angeles Elizabeth Faulkner, Sherry Yard, Ben Ford, and Ray Garcia. The highest bidder was $40,000 on that last night.
For a dinner in their home.
In their home, and then we auctioned off a dinner for 40 people in Nancy Silverton's backyard.
Wow.
And it went for $100,000
Wow.
to benefit No Kid Hungry. And then we sold 2 barbecues with Burt Backman in LA from Slab and Daniel Weinstock from Maple Block, and we threw in Tacos 1986, and 2 people paid $25,000 each there. So in 2 minutes, it was $100,000 for Nancy, plus another 40, plus another 50, $190,000 for No Kid Hungry. So it
And
is
chefs are able to raise this kind of money with you on the
100%.
stage. And
because it's also for the wealthier crowd that can support organizations like a No Kid Hungry. All of these experiences go in the category, and the event that we joke about that we do in Toluca Lake, a beautiful part of LA. I mean, that's for an organization called Kid Save that deals with international adoption. When kids age out of the foster care system, they open up the door and go, see ya, thanks.
Right.
So of all charities, right? We put a great lineup of chefs together every year, but we've been like the same crew for like 6 years, and these people pay big bucks for it. But what I was just going to say is the stuff we've done, the stuff I've done with Waxman and Silverton. I mean, we auctioned off a dinner at Nancy Silverton's house in Italy at
Yes.
Alex's Lemonade. Someone paid $150,000. Wow. At the City Harvest Gala that they just did with Eric Repair from Les Bernardin cooking in your house and John Legend coming to sing.
wow.
2 people paid $1 million each.
Because these are-
Look, can I just back up
Yeah.
for a second? I
'Cause
remember
you
one of
worked
the
in Les
first time.
Bernardin.
One of the first times I was, I got auctioned off, and I got auctioned off right after Eric Repair went.
you got
he got like
$4.
it was not even a joke.
Yeah.
They were like, it's 160, 170,000, and then I went up and they were like, who's got $25? I think I went for like $185.
100 on a good day. On a good day.
So good, yeah.
But because it's all part of this whole conversation, the rise of food TV. Your shows, you don't really have any shows. Your shows, but the rise of food TV and celeb chefdom with the rise of fundraising, they've cross-pollinated. Like you said, we were on the back of a truck on a farm 15 years ago. That was kind of, you were starting
Percolating.
to see it. But
On the Line podcast is brought to you by Danny Boy's famous original pizza. From downtown Los Angeles and Westwood, Los Angeles, Danny Boy's Pizza started with a singular goal of producing the best slice of pizza that we could possibly create. We make New York-style pizza with the finest ingredients, built by a team of fun-loving, like-minded, culinary-driven individuals producing slices of pizza that are not going to empty your wallet, but they will fill your belly. Come down to Danny Boy's and say hi. I am on the line, cooking them up for you, as well as on the line with Amanda Freitag here in the studio for you.
Literally 12 hours ago, I was on stage and Silverton, $100,000. Faulkner, Sherry Yard, because even what we do in Toluca Lake, those experiences go in the category for people that have the means.
Priceless.
Just something you can't get.
Right.
Yeah, we can have a nice dinner in the private dining room at Spago.
No, man,
great.
you can't hire some of these folks to come to your house and do
No,
that.
you can't.
And it's not only that. If you hire me and pay me $10,000 to come to your house, I'm your servant. Begrudgingly, and thank you for the dough.
Yeah.
But if I'm glad and excited, and not only am I excited because I'm cooking for something that means something,
Right.
but it's also an opportunity to get together with these chefs that I love working
Yeah, get
with
to
and
hang out
see
with,
you
too.
and hang
Yeah.
out. And I learned something. It's fun.
Yeah.
Didn't we do that dinner? Didn't we drive in the
Hillary.
car? Remember we were
Hillary
driving
Sterling?
out to Connecticut? I have a photo of it. Anyway,
Yeah.
some
But,
dinner somewhere.
I
But go
also
ahead.
just want to point out to
Yeah.
anybody who's listening who
Yeah.
has never been at one of these fundraisers, which a lot of people have, that the chefs don't get a dime of that. All of that goes to the organization.
Yeah,
and
100%.
so obviously we are a breed of people.
I get all food costs covered now, guys.
Food costs,
yeah, for sure.
luckily now are covered.
But that's when you go and cook at an event.
Yeah.
It's a big whole thing, and you got to
It's
put
a lot
a
of
lot.
work.
But
It's
when for these dinners, you're saying, hey, can you donate your time to cook for 40 people? Like that's an easy thing for someone to do.
And for people that have been involved with charities for a long time, and I'm going to bring it up a few times because last night was 2024. It's the 40th anniversary of No Kid Hungry. You've both been involved. Right. So when you talk about what we were talking about kind of the 15 years ago when it started bubbling up to raise big bucks for No Kid Hungry, Alex's Lemonade, Autism Speaks, these
City Harvest.
City Harvest,
Yes.
New York Food Bank. It wasn't like that. No Kid Hungry's been around 40 years. The Taste of the Nation events that they've done for 25 or 30. These used to be, let's gather people together, raise some money for kids that don't have enough to eat, that have become these, global, organizations. I'm looking for the word.
Juggernauts.
Put the flag in the ground, juggernaut, like just an A-lister type thing. I mean, the Alex's Lemonade event coming up at UCLA. It's like the 15th anniversary in LA. That event raised a couple $1 million. There's celebs everywhere. There's 40 chefs there. And at the end of the day, though, for someone who's been involved with Alex's Lemonade for 15 years, just to pick out that organization, that when you're dealing with pediatric cancer. So when you ask about, am I going to go cook and help this organization? Because if we get a little serious, because I've been involved with the organization for so long, I've done events where we raise money in January of one year and you come back to the gala the next year and the kid that was on stage with you is not with us anymore. So it just puts all of this in perspective, and then people...
What do they do with the money?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Let's edit that out.
Edit that
okay?
out.
Please remove that. Jesus.
Amy,
He went to the dark side.
PR person in the room.
Edit that out. His hand's on the button over there. God, I was making a big dramatic. Who's this
about to cry.
I was so good at this, but you know what? He broke the drama. So anyway, to get some kind of back on track, there's so many galas that we do where the money just makes such a dramatic difference. Just to keep plugging them a little bit, their 40th anniversary, their in-school breakfast program and their summer meals program, two of the most important things, which are also very chef-driven. People don't realize people facing financial challenges, inner city neighborhoods, people living below the poverty line, people truly forget, and especially because you've been involved for so long, many children in this country get their 2 meals a day at school.
And when they're not in school, what do they do?
Right. So the vacation time, summertime, and so part of the whole campaign, they were talking about it a lot last night, is even LA Unified, because we're in LA, it's the second largest school district in the United States. There's 600,000 kids. There's 1,000 schools. And last year there was an organized teacher strike, fighting for their rights. but it was all over the news that the schools had to remain open, and the parents, people living below the poverty line, they still offered all the food at the schools. Parents went to school to pick up the food to bring back to home. And people just, it's still hard for them.
In this country that we have a problem feeding our
That we
own
have a
children.
problem.
There's also those statistics that you
country.
hear about, if a kid eats their,
they're
if he
just
eats
their
2 meals
brain
a day,
function and-
it's like you're so much more likely to go on to have such a, so much more success in your life.
100%.
It's so much more fundamental and important to your life moving forward than almost anything else is
Right.
having.
Yeah, just food.
If a kid is hungry in the morning, especially, how are they going to learn?
They can't learn,
How?
and we don't want this to be the Debbie Downer podcast,
No, but it's true.
But the way the chef world has cross-pollinated and grown so much over the past 15 years with nonprofits, and there are charities that I've worked with that are cancer charities that they have all the statistics and numbers and the amount of money that's been raised from these galas over the past 15, 20 years, that there are types of cancers that do not exist
Right.
anymore.
They've been eradicated.
Okay, No Kid Hungry, I think the number last night Billy Shore talked about was there's now 3 million more children getting in-school breakfast program. And so anyway, so these
They've
are
come a long way.
a long way.
Are you worried about we
Yeah.
talk about like the Food Network having
Yeah.
it's challenging time for food and TV, is the future bright for this, or do you feel like this is a challenge right now? That,
in fundraising world or
in the fundraising world because of the chef stars are kind of slowly fading.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Well,
you know,
celebrities now want to be a part of that world
Yeah,
as well.
and-
The celebrities want to have their own cooking shows.
everybody wants to be a chef, that's for sure.
Yes.
And you don't have to know how to cook or not.
No,
That's-
everybody wants to be a chef. No one wants to clean the toilets.
Nobody wants to clean the toilets or clean the plancha or the fryer
Right.
or any of it. Let's just have a fancy TV show on a network. So, yeah, I mean, if we're going to start talking about the state of the industry, that's kind of a, I just had 2 salads. Before we got over here, it was $120. So
Right.
it was like,
That's a
know,
whole different
that's
ball of
that's
wax.
a separate
but-
conversation.
But I think when you say about celebrity chefs and now celebrities,
Yeah.
there will always be, I think, somebody wanting to give back
Yeah.
and somebody wanting to have, whether it be a Bobby Flay in their home cooking dinner
Yeah.
or whether it be
Yeah.
Eric Ripper, or whether it be Selena Gomez.
yeah,
Right?
or Selena Gomez, yeah.
But I also think there is a root purpose for chefs to feed people. There's a
I
root
agree, yeah.
purpose that this satisfies. For me, it's very rare that I've said no to Billy when he's asked me to do something.
Never. You don't say no to
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Well,
because
because it's not him asking. He's asking on
Yeah,
behalf
and-
of, and he doesn't mess around. Like if
Right.
Billy's asking, it means that he's asking for something important.
Yeah.
And
very
like,
nice,
what kind of piece of shit am I? I'm going to say no to this,
because you can only raise
He also, of course,
$185.
Yeah.
he's got
Was it
9
$185?
generations of Jewish guilt that he's been working
I
towards.
just can I'm like, are you sure you can't do this dinner next Saturday?
5
You,
minutes.
you can't make pasta fajoule for 12 people. That you're doing the pasta course day. Are you sure you can't cook for 12
Tell her
people?
she can't afford the flight to the hospital. It'll be fine.
But I mean, to lighten up the conversation,
Yes.
obviously
This is
you've
really bothering me
you've
because they're not.
seen
a
and
sponsor.
met a lot of chefs.
Oh, you like you're a sponsor. You're that guy. You're a sponsor. You want a sponsor guy.
You've
Yeah,
seen and
just
met a lot
don't-
of chefs, a lot of chefs who are just chefs to be known for their food.
Yeah.
Now chefs that are known as TV personalities. There's a lot of celebrities in your world.
Yeah.
Celebrities that want to give back also that
sure.
have collaborated with chefs. Is there any salacious, fun, cool celebrity stories that you like to share? I mean, you have events that involve food, wine, booze.
Music now too. A lot of music.
Music.
Lisa Loeb rocked it out last night. My best foodie rock and roll thing. I've had the privilege to know and work with Dave Grohl a couple times
Yes,
now.
he's the best.
He is the best, and we
I
did.
love that guy.
We did a big
Dave, I
gala.
love you.
We love you, Dave. We did a big gala for the LA Food Bank in the parking lot of the LA Food Bank. We had 1,000 people there because it only could hold 1,000 people. We could have had 70,000
Oh,
people.
sure.
But he loves barbecue, so he worked a barbecue station with his crew, Backbeat Barbecue. Duff Goldman was there doing dessert, and Tony LaFaso was doing pasta. Bruce Kalman was there at the time doing some food as well. And then, we had a big stage built, And then, Bruce Kalman and Duff Goldman, they started a band called Fog Rock instead of Fogwa. So, and then Dave jammed with them and they start playing Thin Lizzy songs.
How great is
that? Yeah, if you go on, on the billyharris.com or click on the thing, just if you want to see the pictures, it's really great. And we had the late, great Taylor Hawkins jam with us. And then they're like, oh, by the way, Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue showing up.
Way.
So he jammed with the band. And then Lisa Loeb, actually, again, she came and did David Bowie cover songs. It was really like the best fundraiser we ever produced,
And are you producing these now? Was that your...
So my business partner, Paul Vitagliano, shout out to Paul. The Umbrello agency next January, the Umbrello, which is, and I'll give you that little, Umbrello, Ombrello, which is Italian for umbrella. We were doing the fundraiser with Nancy Silverton at her home in Umbria in the town of Panicale. And we had a little walk to the town of Pacciano right next door. And the exact story is this. We went on, because you're eating like a gavone, but you're in Italy for 3 weeks and you don't gain a pound because there's no processed food. But we went on our morning hike. You're like...
Hearsay, Your Honor. Hearsay, Your Honor.
We walked from Panicale to Pacciano for our morning due espresso. Due cappuccini, por favore. Oh, sto nuts.
Only before 10? Thank you
only
much.
Before 10. So true story, every word of this. We're in Pacciano. We're sitting there having cappuccino. We just did the event with Nancy. It was 12 very generous people, supported a great cause. They were spending a week or two in Italy. They were like, it was perfect timing. They bought it at one of our galas. It was either a No Kid Hungry gala or Alex's Lemonade gala. And no, it was actually from the Motion Picture Television Fund. And I'm going to the fundraiser at Sherry Lansing's house tonight for the Motion Picture Television Fund.
Fantastic.
So we're in the town of Pacciano having our cappuccino. Everything ends in an O. Talking about everything that's under our umbrella. We're all busy right now. Paul's wife, Diana, was sitting with us. She goes, you guys have so many things under your umbrella. And, the fundraising events and the live events and the virtual events and all my MC stuff. And we kind of needed a new name for the company at the time. And she goes, oh, umbrella. And I said, what's the Italian word? It just hit me.
Yeah.
And I said, what's the Italian word? Doing Google Translate. And you're like, umbrella. And it goes, umbrello. I'm like, the Umbrello agency. Sounds like umbrella. And I'm like, then the logo has to be an umbrella because all the things that we do under it. Go on the umbrelloagency.com. We walk down the street, take a left in Pacciano, and it was a street full of colorful umbrellas hanging from the ceiling. Kismet. So if you go to umbrelloagency.com, the story I just told is there, and the photo is right there.
But you can't spell it umbrella. You got to spell it...
No, it's umbrello. It's
you
umbrella.
Replace...
No, it isn't. I didn't. Look at you. You replaced. Yeah, I replaced it. I changed it.
And
it's OMBRELLO, the Umbrello Agency. So everything we do now really falls under that umbrella. Yeah. Falls under that banner. We don't obviously do virtual events anymore. And the short story that you asked earlier. I'll just go into this chapter myself.
Go.
COVID hit. We were actually doing an event with Amanda Cohen from Dirt Candy.
I love Amanda.
We love Amanda at the Soho House on Ludlow Street the few days leading up to lockdown, March of 2020. Should we do this event? Should we not do this event? We did the event. So when she was, and it was literally the beginning.
Did the event, but there was no toilet paper available.
Yeah, no, there was still toilet paper available. But the best part of this story is, so Amanda's, she's testing her food at the counter at the Soho House on Ludlow Street in New York. And she's like, Billy, try this. Paul, try that. So, and she's like, she's like, well, I just got back from Italy last night. So she literally came home from Italy. She gave Paul COVID. Okay?
She was patient zero.
Amanda Cohen.
So it was like, she had COVID. Paul got COVID. I did not get COVID at that time. But New York got shut down.
I saw you. I remember. You were so upset. Oh, my God. Remember that? I ran into him in the airport.
I did run into you in the airport.
I ran into the airport. I walk over. I'm like, oh, Billy. I give him a big hug. And he gives me a hug. And he stepped back. He was like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
I did see you at the airport.
Literally, you were like, why would you have just done that?
Why would you just touch me?
I was like,
I'm like, no touching, no touching. So the really short story with that is, for 3 weeks we cried, because you're in the event production business. Every event that we had, everyone's got their own story, but our particular case, because you're in the event business, we had all these events. If it was my hosting gigs, if it was charity gigs, corporate gigs, everything. Oh, we're delaying it 2 weeks. Oh, we're canceling it. Oh, we're delaying it 3 months. We're canceling it. Oh, we should probably do it next year. Canceling that. Well, maybe the year after that. cancel that, as everything got worse and worse and
start
worse.
to see your whole life flash before you.
Life flashed before you, but it was still, okay, what are we going to do? And then everyone started very quickly, and I have the text to this day, my sister, Jody, hey Jode, in Merrick, New York, when you started hearing about Zooming, she goes, we have a mutual friend, she goes, call Abe, he works at some company called Zoom, and they're doing the, video broadcasting thing. And so to this day, I still have a little Abe corporate discount at Zoom.
Nice.
So we're like, you
Can I
started
get that coupon code?
Exactly. So the kids started being on
At
Zoom,
this
and you
point,
started.
Zoom needs the dough.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Pretty much.
So I know the whole chef community. Every restaurant's closed. People were trying to figure it out very quickly. We were also like, and what do we do? Besides all our chef friends, their restaurants are closed, their catering companies are closed, their bars are closed.
Production is shut down.
Production is shut down. Every when you went 3 weeks in a row of canceled. How about canceled? Can we get our deposit back that we sent you 6 months ago for the big gala at the Four Seasons? Like, we're not having it. It's a global, you have to send. I'm like, this is all just crumbling, like just watching it crumble. And then all the chefs were
Next thing you know, he's in his underwear in a pool, raising millions.
Millions. So it was the first week of April. We really weren't really. Everyone was. It wasn't the beginning of Eventbrite, but we had used Eventbrite for other events to sell tickets online. I don't know why Antonio came up first. Maybe we did the Billy Harris dinner series also for 10 years in between all this. We'd done a bunch of events with Antonia. Chefs were like, how do I stay open? Everyone was starting to do food to go, blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows the story there. So, but like, how do we do our events? Because all our events always have, the best wines, and Charlotte Voicey and the whole William Grant mixology team, the best cocktails, the best wines. San Pellegrino Aquapana is our partner. I don't know about this other water company here. But so we have all these partners. So we have cocktails, we have wine, we have fancy water, we have great chefs with food. So how do we do an event? How do we raise money? How do we do any event? How do we do anything? So I'm giving you this straight out. We had worked with the Wells Fargo Foundation in LA, Greg Shirkin, who runs that in their community outreach program. And he goes, we can give you guys $250,000 to give to 10 charities. Let's give 10 charities. Because then, the news just got worse and worse.
Oh, yeah,
everyone in lines for the LA Food Bank, and every nonprofit was closed, and how do they generate money? So he's like, here's $250,000. Let's give 10 charities $25,000 each. Can you do dinners somehow? And we started talking. We're like,
how do we do it?
How do we do it? Okay, I know the chefs, like they can cook the food, and I can get a bottle of wine. And then we called the William Grant team. I'm like, could you make cocktails and put them in like a bottle to go?
Send it out.
Like this, we're talking now, right? This sounds like delusional land.
It does.
Okay. For some reason, I don't know why we reached out to Antonia first, but we did, because she had Scopa in Venice. It's a huge space. The restaurant's closed. Chefs started doing, come get your food to go, all this crap. So it was the People's Concern in Venice Beach. That's the name of the charity that the Wells Fargo Foundation supports. It's a nonprofit helping those experiencing homelessness. Okay, I'm being very PC here right now.
Unhoused neighbors.
Unhoused neighbors. You know what? It was people that needed help. They said, we have $25,000 to give them. We want people to buy tickets to support the restaurant, but we don't want to have to ask anyone more money to support the charity. Wells Fargo is going to support the charity. Let the people's money go to the restaurant.
Makes sense.
Made sense, right? It was all starting to come together. Okay, so boom, Antonia, can you do lasagna? Could you do a salad? Can you do a tiramisu? Can you get all these things in containers? Yeah. And this was like even before everyone became experts, right? It was boom. Okay, so we put it on, Instagram. We put it on. We did our email marketing, food to go, Zoom, Antonio LaFaso raising money for the People's Concern. Put it on Eventbrite. Like in a day, 200 people bought tickets for it, and we're like, what the fuck? Like,
I mean, these guys weren't exactly like, they didn't have a lot of options to do.
No, this was a literal like, what the fuck? And then we're like, okay, this is like, people are stuck at home.
Yes.
This is 3 weeks into COVID.
Yeah.
So
people are excited.
So we're like, then how are we delivering food? My daughter didn't have her driver's license, so Sharon drove, I drove, Paul drove, his wife drove. We got friends to drive and gave them free food, okay? We showed up at Scopa, Everyone picked up the food. I'd give you a piece of paper, and go, so the food, and then the bottle of wine, and then pre-batch cocktails into a box, okay? You'd show up, and I'd give you a list of 10 addresses, and you'd have to fucking deliver food to these. So we delivered food for 200 people. Everyone had the Zoom link. And at 5 o'clock, we would get on the Zoom. I'd say hello. Antonio would be in the kitchen. Everyone had the food. The Wells Fargo Foundation would say hello. The head of the charity, the People's Concern, would say hello. And because this gets it actually gets very exciting very quick. So we pulled this out of our ass. We did this event. We fed, the restaurant made money. The Wells Fargo paid the charity. We produced this event. Massive success. We did another one. We did Project Angel Food, and Wolfgang's worked with them for years. So I called Wolf. Same shit. Spago packed up the food. And then I called, I'm giving great names here, Brad Saltzman, who owns the top valet company in town. All his valet drivers, they're all out of work. And I'm like,
brilliant.
But they're licensed, bonded, and insured. Now I don't have to worry about that. So we started hiring all the valet companies as we did one.
So you started employing a lot of people.
So I started becoming a slumlord and managing all of this. Okay. So, but we started lining up all the pieces. So now we had the chefs, and we had the winemakers, and we had the mixologists and the cocktails. Now we had the drivers. Okay. And then we had Wells Fargo giving charities money to line it all up. So we did 1, and then we did 2, and then we did 3, and then we did 5, and then we did 10. Because then you had all of our events that you guys know me at, all those galas, those black tie galas, all canceled. American Cancer Society, the LA Food Bank, everything. No Kid Hungry, Alex's Lemonade, everything was canceled, and everyone started hearing about what we were doing. And we were just trying to get better at the same time to do a little more. How do we get food? So, Glenn Gaynor, I love you, Glenn, head of production at Sony, now he's at Amazon, is my neighbor. He was on a Zoom that we did. I'm good friends with Anthony Anderson and Tyra Banks, and he was on that Zoom, and he goes, I'm going to connect you with Jeffrey Katzenberg. They need to do something like this for the Emmy Awards because it's all virtual. And his big party supporting the Motion Picture Fund, hence the fundraiser I'm going to tonight, it's called The Night Before. He has the night before and the evening before. It's his pre-Emmy party, pre-Oscar party that he's done for 30 years. Glenn connects us with the Motion Picture Fund. He's like, you're going to talk to Katzenberg. So they hired us for the Emmys. Okay?
You did it virtually?
I'm sitting here talking to George Clooney on Zoom, Katzenberg, everyone else. John and Vinny did the food. Nancy Silverton did the food. It got delivered to everyone's house. No, it gets better than that. So all my agent friends in LA, Richard Weitz at William Morris, he was on that Zoom. He goes, the Dodgers had just won the World Series. So this was October of 2020 because it was during COVID. No Dodgers parade. Then the Lakers won too. No Lakers parade either. He goes, I'm going to connect you with the Dodgers Foundation because they need to do a World Series party, and we're going to do it on the Zoom.
Wow.
And Richard was doing his quarantunes with his daughter, Demi, and he raised $40 million doing Zooms for a year and a half. And he connects us with the Dodgers. John and Vinny did all
I learned how to bake sourdough bread.
Yeah, exactly.
That was cool.
He connects us with the Dodger Foundation. We had 1,000 people on Zoom. John and Vinny did food for 1,000 people. They have a commissary by LAX. We hired 100 drivers. Each driver made 10 deliveries. All the food from John and Vinny's was delivered. Wine, Cocktails Foundation. We did an auction on Zoom. I remember all of this like it was yesterday. We were auctioning off a Mookie Betts shirt and a bat. And you had Magic Johnson bidding against Michael Milken, spending $50,000 on the jersey. We're all on Zoom. So it was players, owners, management. Anyway, so this is kind of like the apex of the Zoom world for me. Like all of a sudden
You are the agents for these Zoom parties.
So I was like, never wore pants, which I know you do most of the time anyway.
I'm a pants man.
You are a pants
man?
man?
I'm not a no pants party kind of guy. I keep my pants on.
Sitting at the table from here up wearing a Brioni, whatever, or not. Just casual, sweatpants down below, sitting in the kitchen counter, doing shtick on a Zoom. And I actually thought it was never going to end, but it ended.
It ended. And I was just talking to Matthew recently, our engineer, about how when my dear friends at Sync Agency, we used to do a lot of in-person events.
Yeah, sure.
Contacted me in April of 2020.
Oh wait, we did one with you in your
Yes.
apartment. What was
Yes.
that? I can't remember the charity.
I
can't remember the
either.
charity, but we did it.
But
so we did it.
you know, I was doing virtual cooking classes.
Yeah.
And for the first one we did
the American pistachio growers
the
together.
pistachios.
Everyone
yes.
loves pistachios.
Everybody loves pistachios.
It's a complete protein.
And then, you know, what happened was I was really, you know, in New York, it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't leaving my apartment. I was
Yeah.
alone. I was wiping down all my groceries. You know, it was all that. And I didn't think, I love being hands-on and doing cooking
Yeah.
classes. Like, I love teaching people how to cook. But then they were like, can we do it over Zoom? And I was like, I don't know
Yeah.
how.
What do we
touch,
do?
feel, you know,
Yeah.
all the senses. Like, how? And we sent people potatoes and flour and eggs, and we made gnocchi all together. We started the hour, and at the end of the hour, everybody lifted up their plates and showed
Yeah.
their bowl of gnocchi through this screen. I was
Yeah.
emotional that day
Yeah.
because I
Yep.
couldn't believe, and I get emotional thinking about it now, that we could connect through food through a screen.
It worked.
On the Line podcast is brought to you by Freitag Cocktails. I'm so excited about these. Freitag, that's me. Friday in German, hello. Friday's a great day for a cocktail. We make them in a family-owned distillery in San Diego. Chef-crafted cocktails, our own bitters, our own vermouth. We make Manhattan, Negroni, Margarita. What else could you ask for? Go to freitagcocktails.com, order them today, and they'll be delivered to your door. Cheers! Through a screen.
I had no issues with it.
And it worked. It really worked. And I actually really thought about you so much during COVID lockdown because when it started to end, I was like, oh, Billy's going to be so happy to get back out on the road. And then we spoke, and I remember you saying...
Yeah, I don't want to ever go on an
because
air.
there would have been nothing that would have slowed you down and made you stop.
Oh,
That would be the only thing that would have made you stop.
I have a whole different outlook on life. It was a 100% life-changing moment for me, and it's the most time my wife and daughter got to spend together. She's moving to New York now this summer, and it was it was the most quality time I have literally had with my family in the 27, 8 years.
So now, do you say no to things? Do you choose, pick and choose?
Yeah, I do.
He didn't come to my party.
He said no to
I
parties.
was busy.
But he said yes to the podcast, and he looked at me and said, I would always say yes to you.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, there's obviously a couple different reasons. From a work point of view, the Umbrella Agency, we're really geared as an LA events production company. Last time I checked, it's a pretty big city.
Yeah.
There's a lot of events
Lot to
here.
do.
You know, hosting wise, I'm going to DC tomorrow for the National Institute of Health on Saturday night. It's a great gala. I've done it for 10 years. They invited me back.
Right,
I want to be there.
loyal.
There's the No Kid Hungry, Alex's Lemonades, National Institute of Health, American Cancer Society, people that I've worked with forever. If they call, I'm going.
Right.
Okay. Something new, someone I haven't worked with. If it's just not the right business opportunity,
Yes.
you get it. And it's not always about money at all. You're just like, it's an event in New York and I have to be, it's just not close.
It's not possible.
It's
Right.
possible, but it's at 55 and someone who's done this for 30 plus years, folks, it's exhausting,
Well, but we talk to a lot of chefs who are icons in their industry
Yeah.
and have started out when we started out, and we see them changing or eventually doing their life's passion that they had before culinary or during
Yeah.
culinary.
Yeah.
And this is a real pivotal moment for, I think, a lot of people when they realized after lockdown, like, life is short. I really want to do what I really want to do. Chris Santos was just here talking
Yeah.
about, being a boxer, doing boxing commentary, having a metal band label. These are things he wanted to do his whole life, and realizing his life is not going to last forever.
No.
Do it now. That's kind of the message that I'm getting from a lot of, chefs and for people at this point in life.
Well, yeah, as my friend Mick Jagger would say, time waits for no one, for sure.
true.
But it's true.
But speaking of Mick Jagger, you have to
a good
have
segue.
like the best night of your life story, something wackadoodle, something amazing, something
As
that
a
happened.
happily married man, I would go with my wedding if you want to stay married
No.
happily.
No, I want salacious something some crazy
Birth
event.
of my child, happy, greatest
Somebody
second
got on
best day.
stage and took off their clothes,
She
and
got
somebody
into college, third best day.
somebody bid $1 million on this person. I mean, like, what was the craziest thing you've ever seen happen at one of those events of yours?
Daniel got auctioned off for $38.
That's pretty much 4 times. 4 times. 4 times. We sold to you and sold to you and sold to you and sold to you
I mean,
for a total of $175.
But just even speaking of like the chef celebrity world, because people have become obsessed with celebrity chefs, and we've seen the obsession at fan events where, you know, I saw somebody lick Jeffrey Zakarian's blazer once.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that.
That
Actually,
taste is disgusting. Still in my mouth.
As the engineer's laughing in the back. Yeah,
You know,
I know.
because these people are obsessed with the accessibility of the celebrity chef, because we're more accessible than the George Clooney's and the Brad Pitts of the world. You know, and so
I mean, look at these two.
for $5, you can come down to Danny Boy's and I'll spend all afternoon with you.
Exactly.
lick your t-shirt. Lick your t-shirt.
By all means.
I'd say like from in fundraising world, you know,
People just do anything.
yeah. Well, Jimmy Kimmel is a big supporter of Alex's Lemonade, and him and I've had the great opportunity of working with him like the past 10 years at this event. And he auctions off a dinner at his house, and it's all the people that
That's
you know.
a coveted seat at that table.
It's Nancy, it's Mark Vetri, it's John and Vinny, it's Funky, it's Bianco, it's Adam Perry Lang. It's like the 6 of those cooking 12 people dinner, and we kind of do it every year. And the years, and Jimmy doesn't come every year, so like the years that he doesn't come, people are like, wait, where's Jimmy? Like the people with deep pockets are like, wait, Jimmy's not here. Where's the thing at his house?
Yeah.
And there was a couple years though where it was like, you know, 50,000, 75,000, 100,000, 125,000, 150,000, and it's like, we're gonna sell it to you, but wait, do you want it? And do you want it? And do you want it? And it was like, Oprah, you get a car, and you get a car, and he did like 3 or 4 dinners at 150. So just from like an excitement point of view, and the crowd into a total frenzy.
Man, when you're bluffing on that second bet, that second place bet, be careful with Billy, because he will take you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've literally in 30 years have hosted thousands of events. Probably the biggest smile on my face was really the Dave Grohl LA Food Bank one. And just because he's as cool as he seems and he is, and you know, Paul and I were standing there. Did you just look at your watch?
I'm
you just
checking the
look
time.
down. You don't need to check no time.
He's the quintessential
I've been checking time the whole
rock star,
time.
though.
Yeah. Why don't you? Yeah, and you know, he's wearing an LA Food Bank T-shirt, and he gets up and jams with the band. And I know I said this before, and he's doing Thin Lizzy cover songs, and the crowd was just so happy.
Real deal.
And when you can wrap it all up under an umbrella, put it under an umbrella. You know, every aspect of that: rock and roll show, great food, celebs, raising money.
Where else do you want to be? That's the only
yeah.
place I want to be. And honestly, when we do philanthropic stuff, for me, it's the most rewarding.
Yeah.
The most rewarding, honestly.
Not
me.
for him, but for you.
like,
He's
Okay,
like, oh,
but on the contrary,
yeah.
what was the worst?
Oh, boy.
What was crickets? I mean, how
Yeah,
good do you have
remember
to
when
be?
he organized that fire
He
festival?
remembers it too. Like you're on stage and it's silent and nobody wants to give you a dime.
I will give you crickets right now. Worst moment of, and I've done this for a long time. I don't know if either one of you know this, but I used to do, to raise money, I'd get tied up in a straitjacket and dance around to James Brown.
No, I did not know this.
I've tried to have all of it scrubbed from the internet.
Was this before cell phones? Because I want to see this.
100% serious. I dance around in a straitjacket. Guy would come up on stage.
I think you get canceled for that these days.
A guy would come up at us, the audience, tie me up in the straitjacket. James Brown's Get on the Good Foot would play. But the whole thing it was very entertaining. Like, who's going to give me $1,000 to get out of this in less than 50 seconds?
So you're good in a straitjacket? You can get out? Can you dislocate your shoulder? Or?
You have to give me $1,000, and you have to give me $1,000. You have to give me like.
You couldn't point though, so you were kind of like.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe before that's a good bit though. But before I just nod my head over there. So I would do this. It was always funny. People wanted to see it. I was out late, very late one night in Manhattan, like 3, 4 in the morning late. Maybe 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, they close the bar down and they keep you in there.
Yeah, I was out very late. Back to the hotel, and it was an event in Hartford, Connecticut the next day. They picked me up at like noon to take me from New York City there.
Oh man, if you puked in the street,
and I was a little, right? I was a little
A little hungover?
A little rough around the edges.
Okay.
A little rough.
It happens to the best of us.
Okay. And, I'm doing my shtick and so-and-so, and we're raising money for the fundraiser, and I'm doing jokes, and we're doing other things. Time for the straitjacket. Guy comes up, puts me in the straitjacket. I dance around. I get out. Nothing. I'm like, my pants are down or something. Like, nothing. It was, and
Nobody gave a dime.
I'm going to get the name wrong. It was like a fundraiser for the state mental health of Hartford, Connecticut, the state of Connecticut. 100. It was like the mental health hospital fundraiser. And I did I didn't even know. I did the straitjacket bit
at the loony bin.
Yep. It's 100% true.
Yep. 100%.
It's 100% true. I remember calling Sharon. It's like
you're like, this is your wife. You call your wife. You're like,
call my wife. I'm like, it's the worst thing that I've ever done ever. I'm so embarrassed. And
that's spectacular.
I was like, they're gonna ask for the money back.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, write a check.
But
today.
we have to give it.
I know, but I said, write a check today for half. And FedEx it. It's my donation to the charity. With a nice letter. I was like, if I send back half, they can't ask for all of it, right?
Oh my
You must
God.
have been
It was
mortified.
It was no, it was seriously.
So what did you do the next year?
Yeah. So when they brought me back, but it was
in the padded walls.
Oh my God. I apologized profusely, and it was one of the I was a little hungover. I'm doing the thing, and I go to do the straitjacket bit. And it was just.
Was that the last straitjacket?
Was the last time I was ever hired in the state of.
But
Connecticut.
you never done the straitjacket bit either. You retired both.
I retired my act. I retired the straitjacket. It is 100% true. I was hungover,
that's amazing.
Well, but also you're on the road. You're going to places all the time.
I was out. I was having a good time.
You're not going to check your folder to check the charity. You know what? This is all for good cause.
There's no excuse.
No, zero.
You're like real nice.
Trying to ease the blow. No.
Sometimes.
I'm like sweating again under this jacket right now, just thinking about it.
Sometimes you slip and you fall, and your pants just come off, and then you're in the kindergarten, and
It was 100% like pants or something. I'm like nothing.
And you realized what was going on.
It was just I was like, thanks so much, everyone. It's been a great night.
It's great that they let you get through the whole thing. Get this. Can I ask you? Sorry to just not to keep on, but how do you get your straitjacket off?
It was a gimmicky straitjacket.
Oh, it's a gimmick. It wasn't.
It was shtick. It had a little more room so you can get your arms out.
David Copperfield.
Yeah,
David Blaine.
It was that kind. Let's just say it was had a little extra room in certain places so you can finagle.
The internet doesn't exist that back then, and so we can't find footage of this.
Oh man, yeah.
But talk about crickets in the audience.
I know now. Of course, someone's going to find it somewhere, probably. I had the web scrubbed for that one. Yeah, that was truly embarrassing, fantastic, spectacular story.
And just for anybody listening out there, if anything like that's ever happened to you, you can survive.
You can survive.
Come back from
yes,
that.
you can come back.
Just send them back half the money.
Yes, with a nice
Did they take
letter.
your donation?
100%.
Okay.
Of course, with a very nice. It was a very nice letter, and and anyway, shit happens.
Insensitive of me. Yeah,
You've come a long way, Billy.
I've come a long way. Are we really? And we're not.
Are
we ending on?
No, we're not.
We're not.
What else is there to talk about?
We're good. Yeah, we're fine.
I got a thing I got to do, and I got to see a guy about a cow.
What time is it?
It's 4:45.
Okay, but listen, we honestly.
We talked about COVID. We talked about fundraising.
You've raised $500 million. I mean, the guy is. It's a little weird to say that. That's a ridiculous amount of money. What I'm glad to know though is it's accelerating, and that but before we are ending our relationship, before we're dead, you're going to be raising like $2 billion for charity. You're going to affect many, many lives. That wasn't what you set out to do. You just want to make a buck for your family, take care of yourself, be nice. But this is.
You just wanted to entertain some people. Now you literally
just
have
wanted
changed
to wiggle his
the
way out
world.
of a straitjacket.
Change the world. Like, do you ever sit back and think about how you have affected people's lives?
Yeah, I mean, I do, just because there's some of the core organizations like the No Kid Hungry's, Alex's Lemonades, American Cancer Societies that I've been worked with for so long, and that these organizations are so on top of promoting where the money goes and how successful these galas are and the fundraising and the efforts that they do. And yeah, I've just been a part of it for such a long time. But it's very much, listen, like, I don't think in maybe the past 20 years of auctioning off chef dinners, like, when dinners that you've done with me, I've been at every single one.
Yes.
The Toluca Lake one, even though I had to leave early one year to go see Portugal the Man at the Hollywood Bowl, I flew in from San Francisco. I showed up. So that's also like even last night, right? Auction off a dinner at Nancy Silverton's house. I will be there. 2 barbecues. I'll be there. I'll coordinate with the chefs and the menu, make it all happen. The dinner with Faulkner and Sherry Yard, I will host the dinner at the home. So it's also, I've very much been, if my friends are going to donate their time, and also I ask that, that's the difference. When I ask them, if I didn't show up at an event where I asked 4 or 5 really busy people, and yes, have there been exceptions? My plane's late. I'm not in LA that week. The donor changed the dinner to next Saturday. I can't be there. But I'm a man of my word, and that's a total put your money where your mouth is. If I'm going to ask Amanda Freitag on a Saturday night when you had a restaurant, when you didn't have a restaurant, it doesn't matter. Busy schedule, filming with your show, you're not as busy. But that's okay.
Hey, I don't get asked that often anymore.
You just go to Toluca Lake once a year.
You call me 2 weeks before.
You've done
10 minutes before. I'm there
But
for
we'd
you.
love to see you there too. Like that's part of the reason why we do it. We do it for
because they are these dinners. They really are a good time.
It's a get together,
and chefs get the schmooze, and they haven't seen each other. And then I do like to be a little bit of a fly on the wall and watch the little behind the scene kibitzing. Like, oh, how did you make that?
Right. Yes.
Romanesco sauce.
It's also great for us chefs to get into this little tiny kitchen. I think the last one we did was with Hillary Sterling, and
we did that. We did that great apartment.
Yes, and we were in this great
David
apartment.
Rockwell was there, the architect. Yes,
in New York City. Yeah, and you get to be with chefs who know. You'd never get to cook with in this small little
And you guys get to talk about food and share tips with each other.
And we talk about food. We talk about the business. 100%. It's very rare that we get together that way.
Correct.
We're at festivals. We can't talk to each other.
I did one with Nate Appleman.
Yeah.
He came with it. We came down together.
We did the one that we did
I brought him. We just out of the blue.
That was like last January. We were down in Manhattan Beach or Hermosa Beach. It was great.
That's a whole nother layer of it. You get to spend time with the people you love in the kitchen.
Yeah.
A whole nother layer.
Hey, life is short, man. This is a good
time.
But
those events, it's like I'm very much. It's really important for me to be there.
Yes.
And especially like
I like that.
Literally, I just asked Sherry Yard, Elizabeth Faulkner, Ray Garcia, Ben Ford. Everyone's got restaurants. Everyone's doing things. And these galas, most of the time, the person who wrote the big check for $40,000 is going to want it on a Saturday night,
of course,
at their house. Wherever it's going to be. So, and I love hosting them and being together with friends. We all have a little wine.
But that's the difference. That's the difference because you are
personal touch,
hands-on, personal touch,
full service operation over here.
Umbrello. Maybe that's where we should wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
That's a good wrap it up. I have to get to the Hotel Bel Air.
No, but I can't tell you how much
we talked
I'm so
about
grateful
things.
to know you.
Of course.
I'm so grateful for what you do. I'm so grateful that you said yes to being here today, and that I think people need to know you who don't know you, because we talk to a lot of chefs, but I believe it's really important to talk to the person who
I'm the guy behind
is the great connector.
I am the great
of all
connector.
Chefs, and that raises money and takes what we do and elevates it to a higher level.
And if you happen to need to star-studded event hosted or, set up in your house here in Los Angeles,
go to theumbrelloagency.com.
Go to theumbrelloagency.com. That's with 2 O's or Umbrello.
Ombrello. Yes.
Leave off that last S for savings because it'll cost you, but it's worth it.
And,
thanks, kids.
What's Billy's full name?
Oh, it's Billy.
Hang on, here we go.
The second.
William Billy. Brian. Boom Boom.
Boborowski.
Harris.
William Brian Billy. Boom Boborowski Harris. The second.
Woo!
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Season 2 of On the Line was recorded in Santa Monica, California at Operation Podcast. Thanks, Chase.
Our engineer and editor is Matthew Donahue. Our theme song is an original composition by John DeLucci. Thanks, Chef.
On the Line is produced by Cindy Augustine. Our co-producer and publicist is Jesse Gerstein.
Our social media and marketing guru is Kedzie Teller.
Thanks for listening
To On the Line.